Hello again. I'm just going to show you the flower border in the back garden. So just one side of the garden, have a quick look at. As again, like I mentioned the other day, the wood chip, you can get that from any tree surgeon who's operating in the area, because most of the time they quite like to get rid of it so they don't have to pay to dispose of it. But a lot of this come out of the local park as well, and I just throw that down over the soil, because at the back here the soil isn't the best. It was basically an overspill of this pathway, so there's a lot of brick and rubble under here from when they built the properties. There used to be a block of flats here. Apparently they were knocked down to build these houses in the 90s, and you've seen these before, but this is more of that black dragon grass. It's a little bit more established here in the back. It's been in a bit longer and it does multiply. You can see new ones are popping up here in between the ones that were already planted in clumps, and the small purple flowers, you can see them there. Very unusual, but they are nice to have in the garden, I like. And then we've got Rudbeckia Goldstrum. These send up yellow flowers. This was a gift off a neighbour not too far away. He was digging up a clump of flowers out of his garden. He dropped some off for me, and here we have again more of those rock roses that I've got in the front. And unfortunately these don't flower very well because the cat likes to crawl in the middle here, and for some reason or other, it quite likes to come to this spot. You can see where it's all been battered down. That's from the muggy. And we've got more hostas like we had in the front. They seem to really enjoy this spot because it's a massive clump. They went in at the same time as the ones in the front. And behind them we have some allium, which have now become quite expensive. These are dying off now, but the purple flowers are striking when they first form. And again, the bees seem to like anything that's purple. And then behind that we've got a climbing clematis, or clematis, however you pronounce it, and I'm training that up a fence. And this is a winter one called Winter Beauty, and I think February, March it sends little white flowers out that drop down below it. And there we have Jordan Pickford. He was holding on to a few other flowers there, but obviously he dropped them, and that'll make sense if you watch football. It won't make any sense if you don't. But there's the T-Rex anyway. The flowers have gone now, or mostly they've changed colour anyway. They're the flowers, I think, and these are Euphorbia Fire Glow. So when they first come out, they're really striking red, and they seem to be taking over, so I'm going to cut them back a bit this year because the swallow and the fern there is fighting to get through. And from the poppy videos, they blow everywhere. I didn't plant these poppies, but these orange poppies, they've just landed in this part of the garden and they just keep proliferating, I should say. And soon you'll see these flowering. That's called Hemerocalis, I think, and they look like lily flowers when they open, and these are like really striking dark gold yellow color. I love them. And then the foliage is beautiful as well, especially on a sunny day. There was a tree here, that's why the fence is a little bit discolored, because it was rubbing up against the fence, but I cut that back this year. I cut it off at the base there because it was just getting too big for the space there, and loads of poppies have jumped up. And the salvia, which is like the one that you've seen from the side garden tour, that's the parent plant that it come from. One cutting off that made the one out of for the side garden. Gorgeous looking thing, loads of purple flowers, and it's starting to come into flower now, and it'll be covered in these purple flowers for the next few months. Inside here we've got purple iris that have not flowered this year, so I think they've been crowded out. They didn't flower at all, so I think I'm going to dig them out and replace them again. and they've been crowded by what you see there. These are called Japanese anemone, and this is the whirlwind variety, which is a white flower with yellow insides, and they'll be popping out in about July, so you'll get to see them. Under here we have muscari, which is one of the first things to pop up in February, March, and then it dies off. Looks like grass for a bit, but it'll come back next year. And we have a staghorn sumac tree here, and that's starting to fill up with foliage. And again, I've had to cut this back quite a bit because, like any tree, it starts taking over the spot that it's in. So that might be on its last year before I take it right down and replace it. It's getting a bit too big, but it is lovely. And wait till it bushes out, you'll just see it covers that whole part of the fence, gives good privacy. If you do have them though, be careful, because the roots travel far and wide and they send up new trees. So like this, that will grow into a tree, as will this. So you just keep looking where the tree is planted, because in the area around it, it starts sending up new shoots from the root, so they can take over quite quickly. And I don't know what this is called, but it was from Home and Bargain, and it cost about £1 a few years ago, and it's got a lot bigger than I thought it would on the picture, but it is absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? Look at these little pink flower stems, buds, whatever they are on the end. They don't last very long, but when they're out like they are now, I think they're beautiful. And going in behind that, we've got an azalea there, a white one that's flowered quite a while and stayed flowered, unlike the other one that I'll show you in a different tour, which, if I look around, yeah, that's not flowered now, it's gone, that's been and gone. And then behind that, it was in a pot last year, but I've placed it there, is another clematis. This one's called Tiger, T-A-I-G-A, I believe. And they're the flowers that it's pushed out this year. So the flowers are much bigger than they were last year when it was in a pot. And a few more ready to open now. And that I'm trying to train up here so it goes onto the fence and then moves this way over the fence. And the reason I've done that is because the other side of the fence, or next to it, I should say, in a pot, which I don't even know if it's going to last well in this pot, but we've got another clematis. Can't remember what it's called, but it's a different variety and it sends a different coloured flower out. But it is working, it's climbing up this little trellis I've put. And as you can see with the clematis, they just wrap around anything they can and keep going. So that'll be trained up that trellis, and I'll move it to the right to go across there. And that's where the cat sits when I leave her out in the garden in the sunny day. She jumps up there and just falls asleep all day. And here, all of this bushy stuff, I can't quite remember the name at the moment, but it sends up little purple flowers in, I think, late February, March, and then it'll give us a few more later on in the season. But that just covers the ground. Vinca, that's what it's called, V-I-N-C-A. I think it's called Vinca anyway, but that's lovely. And then we've got another little dwarf conifer tree. Doesn't look too good at the moment, but that's because it drops all these little spikes, and then it comes into full green towards winter. So it looks completely green in winter and it's beautiful. And this is another type of conifer, but it's a rounded one that stays like a bush. I just keep that trimmed back, but I quite like the look of it, like a little gremlin in the garden. So that's the flower border. No food on this side of the garden. I keep the food to this side now. That's why I've removed everything there this year, and it's back to wood chip and building areas to grow food. more food, less flower, and we'll see how successful we get with that this year. So thanks again for watching. Please leave a comment if you wish, if you know any names of the things that I can't remember the names of, and I look forward to sending another video out soon, hopefully when the weather gets a bit better. Have a good one.